In the past few months, I've been revisiting the teen sex comedies. These were hugely popular in the 1980s. They had a brief revival in the mid-90s, but they got their start quite a bit earlier. I'm not even actually sure what should count as the very first one. Some people will point to Porky's, which came out in 1981, but it's definitely not that one. I mean, The Cheerleaders came out in 1973, which is way earlier. But the director of The Cheerleaders said he was inspired by a movie called The Stewardesses that came out in 1969. Was that the first one? I don't know. It's more erotica than teen sex comedy. It's not very funny and it doesn't really have a plot, so I'm not sure that should count. If we look to Europe, we've got some contenders. In 1972, we had Au Pair Girls, for example. That one does have a plot and is actually trying to be a comedy. Maybe that's the first one. I don't know. If you have another contender, let me know in the comments. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews, and me, Rob, and today I'm taking a look at H.O.T.S from 1979. This is a university-based teen sex comedy, so it was definitely chasing after some of that money that Animal House discovered in 1978. So let's see how the girls of H.O.T.S tried to get the Animal House fans back into the theater. So right after the university establishing shot, we go straight into the showers. That's exploitation, baby. If you don't have Jim Belushi, you gotta have something else. And in this case, the director hired a number of Playboy models and put them in the shower. People will buy tickets to that. In meeting these shower girls, we quickly find out that some of them are quite bitchy. I mean, they make fun of one of the poorer girls because she had to work a minimum wage paying job for 3 years to afford university. And that's how you can tell this movie's from the 70s. Back then, people could actually afford to go to university. Anyway, these girls who were rejected from the other sororities decide to start their own sorority house. And they vow to get revenge against the bitchy pie sorority. Wait a minute. We've got some rejects, some nerds, if you will, who are rejected from other Greek houses and decide to start their own Greek house. They renovate it and then vow revenge against the pie sorority. I've seen this movie before. Can't quite put my finger on it. Nerds and house renovations and revenge. Revenge house, nerds. I'm sure it'll come to me. Also in this movie, we have a subplot about some gangsters who have recently broken out of jail and they want to collect the money they had stashed away in an old house. I wonder which house that will be. Early in the movie, the girls of H.O.T.S have a fundraiser and they organize a skydiver, and that skydiver loses her top, becoming a topless skydiver who lands in the dean's pool. This does not engender the dean to the plight of the H.O.T.S girls. And what follows next is a kind of prank war between the girls of H.O.T.S and the girls of the pie sorority. The pranks include throwing some pies at the pie sorority girls while they are sunbathing. That sounds familiar too. Didn't the other nerd revenge movie have something to do with pies and revenge against the pie sorority?
That's my pie.
What movie was that? Jaws 2? Anyway, some of the other pranks include kidnapping one of the girls while she is amorous with her boyfriend in the back of the van. There's some sort of prank involving a live bear, but honestly, I don't remember how this was supposed to play out. And the H.O.T.S girls organize a jockstrap raid.
It's in my top drawer.
It's supposed to be on your bottom drawer, sweetie.
And wait a minute, raiding another house for their undergarments? That sounds familiar too. Wasn't that in that house nerd revenge movie?
Kitty raid!
What was that movie? Raiders of the Lost Ark? In addition to these pranks, the girls of both sorority houses get involved in various competitions, including a wet t-shirt competition and, my favorite, a game of strip football. Yes, this movie is pretty awesome. But wait, Greek houses being involved in some sort of competition? That sounds familiar too. Didn't that happen in that nerd house revenge movie?
But the only way to become president is to win the homecoming carnival. That's right, Arnold. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
What was that movie? House 2? Well, anyway, that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. Well, the girls of H.O.T.S are really attractive. Which shouldn't be a surprise. There are 3 Playboy Playmate models in this movie, 1 former Miss USA, and a sexploitation starlet who will go on to appear in a number of Jim Wynorski films. So yeah, that cast is... And the shenanigans they get into are fun enough. I was even a little bit surprised. I don't think I'd ever seen one of these sort of low-budget teen sex comedies have a skydiving prank. That was pretty cool. And seemed kind of dangerous. But I wouldn't say the movie is perfect. Like a dean getting a little too handsy with one of the H.O.T.S girls, this movie has some shortcomings. Well, this is a really stupid movie, and I have to say a lot of the comedy didn't really land with me. It was just a bit too stupid. I mean, at one point, for example, those gangsters that I mentioned earlier pretend to be a cleaning robot in order to get access to the house. Yeah, that's the level of stupid we're dealing with here, and I like stupid, but that's a bit too stupid even for me. But, I don't want to complain about this movie too much. This is a really low-budget exploitation film, and the filmmakers did exactly what we would expect them to do. They saw Animal House making money hand over fist, so they decided to make their own college house movie, and they filled that house with Playboy models who were more than willing to take their clothes off and play strip football. That's pretty awesome. I respect that a lot. And, despite being a low-budget exploitation thing, this movie was, I think, pretty influential. There are a number of scenes that we will see again in a different exploitation film in the 1980s. So I think without H.O.T.S, we might not have gotten a classic like Revenge of the Ninja.